The 3-0 defeat at home to Hayes and Yeading, and Dan, that seemed to just be a night where everything went wrong.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It was just uh, a disaster. Yeah, disaster from every facet. And the annoying thing is, we started the game really well. I thought the ball Ferdinand's put into Reedy's absolutely sensational pass, and from then it felt like we were getting forward. And they've scored. To be fair to them, they've scored a half decent goal, and then it just injury after injury after injury, and we just sadly never recovered from that. And it's an unfortunate one because you can't necessarily legislate for those types of injuries, particularly the amount of them. But the frustrating thing is you can look at those moments and go, that's worthy enough of probably losing a game of football when you lose four players across a game. But unfortunately, the real undoing of us has probably been the two goals that we gifted in the second half. So there's frustrations and explainable frustrations, granted, but yeah, we're disappointed with the goals we conceded. Certainly the final two. But again, legislation for four injuries in one game is I've never had anything like it.
Paul Hodges was stretchered away at half time and Billy Upton left in a boot. We saw him go away from the stand. Simon Dunn looked like a hamstring injury as well. They all looked or sounded like they could be fairly long-term injuries. Is that the case?
Likely to be, yeah, likely to be. The bigger frustration, like Dunny's is Dunny's. Like Dunny's been unfortunate there with his hamstring injury. Billy's put a venomous tackle in, and I think the guy has left one on him unintentionally. I'd give him. The two on Cal, I mean, how it's not a booking is beyond me. His wave played on, and the guy's absolutely clattered him, and he's had to come off. And the same with Hodges. Like Hodges didn't even get a free kick for it, and for him to have made that contact, that much contact, for him to be stretchered off, it kind of typifies the fact that it's not a fair challenge, you know. And the referee's claiming that he got the ball first, but the ball was safe side, so it's a logistical, no, not logistical, an impossible angle for him to done it. So they're disappointing. Not that saves the injury by him getting his cards out, but it certainly potentially stops that future challenge of Callum's. But yeah, they probably will be long term to add to our already misery with the likes of Artwell, Cook, Scotty Armsworth. Matt Scott got an injury as well, so I've in basically 8 years of management, I don't think I've ever had anything like this. It's a difficult patch.
Were you unhappy with some of the tackles that were flying in over the course of the game?
Not really. I mean, tackles are tackles. It's up to the referee to deal with them. I just think that the two that we've gained injuries from are bookable offences on both counts, and one's been waved away to play on, and the second one is he's brought play back and then just had a 10-minute conversation with him and then said done nothing. So and then we put one bad challenge in, and it's suddenly it's a straight yellow. So it's yeah, it's an odd one. I'm not blaming the referee's got no issues there, but to answer your question, I'm concerned as to why they weren't yellow cards. But that certainly wasn't the result of the game.
On Saturday, I think I asked you if you're going to be struggling for numbers for tonight, but now this seems like it's just gone up a whole another level. Is there going to be concerns about filling a bench on Saturday?
Yeah, bring your boots. Yeah, I encourage all supporters to bring their boots, and it might have to be a case of me signing people on last minute. We're probably going to have to look down the loans department and work really hard this week to get some bodies in, because Kai's suspended for the weekend, having been sent off at his loan club, so he can't play. Callum's going to be. I mean, I doubt Callum's going to play. Billy's obviously out. Scotty's out. Cook, Ash, Dunny, Hodges, Mark. We're not sure about. Like the list is just beyond mental. So the likelihood is we're going to have to draft in some players, which adds complications, because realistically, by the time we've organised it, we're not necessarily going to have a chance to watch them. And obviously, the other one today is Hamilton's, who we signed last week, has departed, and that's purely down to just time legislation. Like the guy came in, and we probably threw him in the deep end where it wasn't necessarily sensible to, but at that point, again with injuries, we had to. The idea was that he was going to come in and look at us and make sure travel times were okay, and sadly we just weren't. The stars hadn't aligned, so we've lost another one there. So it's just it's a remarkable period. But as we just said to the group in there, they've got to stick together. You know, it's as simple as that. We've brought Ferdy in. Hopefully, we'll get Michael back for Saturday after a short suspension. So we've got 2 players that are fully fit and entering the squad. Stefan's obviously got through another game, so it's not all doom and gloom, but we'll certainly have to do some work between now and then.
You mentioned Liam Ferdinand there. It's not the easiest game to give a judgment on a player at all, but what did you see from him? Were you happy with his debut?
Yeah, you saw some touches of real class with Ferdy. Like that opening sequence in the first half it typifies him. He's great feet, great on the ball. He works tirelessly. Like he's a strong physical presence, and whilst he's not like in the shape of Argent, where he used to come across and win big kind of big headers, he uses his body incredibly well to ensure that we can get up the pitch and win flick-ons and stuff. So he's a real talent, Ferdy, and we're very proud to have him in. And today is certainly not a reflection of what he is, but even then he contributed in a positive way. He'll be disappointed with the manner of the second goal, because he did gift one, and Dre I think was the other, but it's a shame for those boys because they worked hard, you know, and it's difficult to kind of dig them out on it, but equally that's what they're here to do. They're here to put in good performances. So yeah, Ferdy will be a great addition, and I've no doubt we've got a really exciting time with him. Just today, with everything that's gone on, it was an impossible task made even harder. So yeah, it's a one we'll have to chalk off and regroup and see what we can do on Saturday.
When Callum Winchcombe went down with injury, you had Kai Hobbs on the bench and brought Stefan Brown on. What was the thinking behind that change? Was it just about getting another forward on to chase the game?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, we still thought we had a footing in it, and the original idea was to take Reedy off, because again, Reedy shouldn't have completed that game, and part of that was to protect Reedy and to Reedy's credit, like he worked really hard towards the end, and we actually asked him to take his foot off the pedal a little bit because we were concerned that he shouldn't have finished that game. Realistically, the original idea was to swap him and Brad at half time. So it was just, I'm not going to sit there at 2-0 or 3-0, well 2-0 I think at that point, and just accept defeat. Like we thought we had enough quality on the pitch to ask some questions. So we went into a 3-5-2 at that point, which obviously quickly became a 3-4-2. And we got good territory. We had a couple of moments where the ball had been flashed across the box. Keeper's made one half decent save, but other than that, we haven't really tested the keeper. But again, very difficult when you lose 4 of your better players.
Thank you very much, Dan. Cheers.
Thank you.